Ozempic is not the problem, and it's not the solution. You are. And I say this because we have been programmed for decades to reach for the quick fix every time the weight loss industry it dangles the newest one in front of you. And then you jump on the next big thing without stopping to ask a single question. I'm Holly Bertone, former FBI Chief of Staff for Counterintelligence, now known as the Emotional Eating Profiler and Coach. I've helped hundreds of women stop emotional eating by using the same psychological patterns that control human behavior. And today we're talking about the Ozempic effect. Now, this is not going to be about whether GLP-1s work or if you should take them. This is how you can become the biggest weapon against the industry that claims they want you thin, but they've been doing an excellent job of keeping you overweight and undernourished and honestly just completely miserable. A couple of weeks ago, I published an episode called Weight Loss is the New AI Economy. And the entire focus was around how we are outsourcing our health and our weight and our lives, not just to AI, but just to everyone. And in doing so, we're losing those critical thinking skills by the day, those critical thinking skills that we need. Today's focus is the Ozempic effect and how that's also impacting those same aspects of our health, our weight, and our lives, specifically as it relates to the quick fix. Because we love progress, we love efficiency, and we love convenience. I mean, think about it. We used to heat up our food on the stove or the oven. Now, pretty much every single house in America has a microwave. We used to walk from the couch to the TV to turn the knob to change the channel. And we also had to sit through 2 or 3 minutes of commercials. Now we just grab the remote, scrolling through 5 different streaming apps to watch any movie or TV series on demand and completely uninterrupted. We used to drive to a library and sit in a room with musty smelling books to learn about the world. Now we just say, hey chat, hey Siri, hey Alexas, and we have the answer in seconds. Life is so much different now than what us millennials and Gen Xers experienced growing up. And we have come to rely on that quick and easy. And through these decades, the majority of the weight loss industry has been promoted as a quick fix. I mean, think about it. You've got the Dexatrim, you've got the grapefruit diet, you've got Slim Fast, you've got Snackwells, you've got cabbage soup, you've got Fen-Phen, you've got low-fat everything, you've got Ally, you've got Special K. There is a multi-billion-dollar industry out there that relies on women who tie their weight to their worth, who believe that their lives and their relationships will improve when they get thin. It relies on women who are gullible, relies on women who will jump on the next big thing and then just blindly believe the promise, and women who will do anything to be thin. And before you come at me for being mean, just sit with this for a second. The weight loss and the diet industry would not be making hundreds of billions of dollars if that was not true. I bought into it for way too many years, and I know you have too, and that's okay. We all have. But just because we believe those lies in the past, it doesn't mean that we have to believe them today. But we still are. We're now in the Ozempic era where the GLP-1s are commonplace, and they are growing exponentially every day. To be clear, I am not a doctor, this is not medical advice, and this is not going where you think it is. What I want to dive into is the Ozempic effect and how fast we still jump on the quick fix. And by the way, if you're getting value out of this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. The first thing I want you to do is go back to that list that I shared earlier about what the weight loss industry needs women to be. There are plenty of women who are going on GLP-1s for medical reasons, especially if they are extremely overweight. There are plenty of women going on GLP-1s for short term to help them get to where they need to be. That is not what I'm talking about here. What I want you to think about is how we as a society are embracing the GLP-1s and how they're being marketed. When I say marketed, I don't mean specifically by the pharmaceutical companies themselves. What I mean is how they are being marketed by society. And I'm asking you, does this pass the smell test? That this trend of medication is relying on women who tie their worth to their weight, believe that their lives and relationships will improve when they get thin, are gullible, will jump on the next big thing and blindly believe the promise, and will do anything to be thin. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But no one is stopping to question anything. So let's just start there. Let's start by asking intelligent questions. And diving deeper, let's start asking questions around why no one is talking about what got us here in the first place. When you think back to the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, the obesity rate was just under 15%. But now, according to the CDC, 40% of Americans meet the clinical definition of obesity, while 72% are overweight or obese. Or let's start asking questions about why we live in a culture that demonizes personal responsibility and puts victimhood on a pedestal. I remember back when I was going through my divorce and my Instagram feed was all about showing me the angry and the bitter women going through their divorce because that's how the social media algorithm works. That's how the algorithm of life also works. This is called the reticular activating system. And it would have been so easy for me to just get sucked into that mentality of victimhood and woe is me about my marriage ending. But I'm looking at these women and the only thing I could see was the bitterness and the anger was so unbecoming. They're screaming at the top of their lungs about how much power they have, when in fact, them blaming their ex on everything is just completely giving their power away. They were unhinged and not pleasant to have in my feed. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be like that. So I asked myself, what would it take to show up differently with my divorce? And I didn't know what I was supposed to do with that. I just knew that I wanted to show up differently. But instinct took over, and I found myself in the bathroom mirror just sobbing uncontrollably. And as I started to realize 50% of this divorce is on me. And I need to step up. I need to take radical responsibility for my part and only focus on me, only focus on my 50% rather than blaming him. And because of that, the craziest thing happened. The first thing was I was able to find peace and calm and forgiveness really quickly, almost immediately. And second was because I showed up from that place of peace and calm and forgiveness, instead of the blame and the rage and that whole you owe me everything kind of mentality, my ex responded with that same level of peace and calm. But none of that would have happened if I didn't step up, if I didn't take that radical responsibility for me. I needed to accept the fact that I am also at fault here. And as hard as this sounds, this is the exact conversation that we need to have with ourselves when it comes to our weight. But the concept is just completely lost on society these days. If women were to say, hey, I bought into the diet industry for years. I made some poor decisions with my health and my weight over the years. I blindly followed the experts without questioning anything. I ate way too much junk food. I let myself go. And I am now stepping up to take radical responsibility to fix it, to understand why I keep sabotaging myself, to work with a coach or a therapist, to actually start the healing process of creating safety in my body, to start shedding those layers of negative self-worth rather than just jumping on the next quick fix or the next diet or the next pill. And if a GLP-1 helps you along with all of that, that is great. But that is what we need to focus on. But that kind of opinion gets you canceled these days. And I just don't care. Because each and every single time a woman buys into the Ozempic effect of the next quick fix, whether it's a GLP-1 or not, and she doesn't address what got her here in the first place, the more she's prolonging her actual healing and the more she's going to continue to fight with her weight. I am not here to tell you what you want to hear so that you can stay stuck. I'm here to share the truth because the truth is what sets you free. And that's the thing too. Just ask yourself, if you were to be brutally honest with yourself, what does that truth look like? And I know this is a hard process, but this is the type of work that will get you real sustainable results. Decades of the diet industry have proven that the quick fix and the Ozempic effect just takes us further away from what we actually want. My friend, if you want to see sustainable weight loss, if you want to see real lasting change, it starts with you. And it starts with you asking yourself those hard questions. It may or may not take you down the path of a GLP-1 or something else. My whole point here is rather than blindly jumping into the next big thing, stop. Get fully present, get centered with yourself, and start asking yourself those hard questions first. Because when you have the answer to those hard questions, that is when you can truly embrace the long-term change that you deserve. And if something I shared today made you nod your head, like, I finally get it, I want you to click the link below this video. It's going to take you to another page where you can join the Break Emotional Eating Accelerator. And for a one-time investment that is less than a typical Target run, inside the Break Emotional Eating Accelerator, you're going to focus on taking that same level of personal responsibility, asking those same hard questions, and you are going to learn how to shut off those emotional eating patterns driving your cravings so food stops controlling your life. So healthy choices are automatic and weight loss finally becomes sustainable. And you'll also get some pretty cool bonuses. And if you're the type of woman who wants to make the investment to go all in, I'll leave a link for you to apply for private coaching. I only work with 3 or 4 clients at a time, so spots are limited based on availability. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Holly Bertone, and this is Weight Loss Forensics.